On this week's Tony and Josh show, a Wisconsin woman leaves a little something behind at a local store, but this little load of love is not what you think it might be. A little racial profiling and a healthy dose of ignorance leads to this young clockmaker getting arrested.
The aliens are coming! The aliens are coming! And there's nothing you can do about it. Except for this one crazy guy. Oh, he's got a plan, all right. And his neighbors aren't too happy about it. And from transporting contraband to possible transporter technology, we've got a lot to cover on the next Tony and Josh show.
Warning. The opinions, ideas, views, emotions, and temper tantrums expressed or otherwise conveyed on the Tony and Josh show may not and most likely is not suitable for all audiences and therefore should not be heard by anyone unless supervised by an appropriate nanny state. Enjoy!
Hey, this is episode 88. If you're new to the Tony and Josh show, we're here to inform, entertain, and give you a laugh or two. We've searched the interwebs and found these earth-shaking stories to bring to you tonight.
A Wisconsin woman left a little something behind at a local store, but this little load of love is not what you think it might be. Racial profiling leads to this young clockmaker getting arrested. We'll find out what happened with him here in just a little bit. And the aliens are coming, and there's nothing you can do about it. Except for this one guy. This one very crazy guy. Oh, he's got a plan, all right. And from transporting contraband to possible transporter technology and much more. We've got a full show for you guys tonight, so sit down, buckle up, and hold on.
Buckle up, Buttercup. But first, we want to give you guys a chance to call our SpeakPipe features at our website, TonyandJosh.com. Tweet us during the show at Tony and Josh Show, and don't forget to include us in your other tweets with hashtag Tony and Josh. Well, let's get to our voicemails. We always love the voicemails, and we can always count on Nikki G. Nikki G, give it to us.
Hey, this is Nikki G. And I know you guys don't like to get too political on your show.
I do.
But I can't help but talk about it. It's so refreshing to see presidential candidates that are so open and honest and own up to their mistakes. I'm talking about Donald Trump. And not his stance on illegal immigration or any of that. Although I kind of agree with what he's saying, I just don't think the way he says it's too cool. I'm talking about that big clump of hair on his head. Kind of looks like the angry cat just hocked up a 75-pound hairball on his head. He's got to know by now that looks horrible. But he made the mistake, and he's living with it. Either that or he needs to fire his stylist. Whoosh. All right, gentlemen. We'll chat at you later. Have a good one. Bye.
You know, it's a little known thing that hair is not a comb over. It's a comb up and over because it's actually dyed black back hair.
Oh, boy. Yeah, he combs that clear back up over the neckline. That's why you never see Trump from the back.
And you never see him move his head. It's always affixed to his shoulders when he turns and stuff. And that's why, because the head will pull back. I mean, the hair will pull back.
He's a robot.
Yeah. Donald Trump is not a politician. He doesn't pull punches whenever he says things. So that's why you don't like it, the way he said it, because he ain't saying it pretty. And those of us that say it the way it is kind of like that. I won't say I'm a Trump supporter, but if it pisses off a liberal, you're getting closer to getting my vote. So here's another Nikki G.
Hey, this is Nikki G. And I just got done watching the 3rd episode of Fear the Walking Dead.
I'm scared.
And it's getting slightly better, but it still sucks ass. It's not too late to bring Gilbert Gottfried on board. He can save the show.
Affleck.
All right, gentlemen. I'll chat you later. You have a good one. Bye.
Gilbert Gottfried had a very funny joke at the end of his Aflac career. I think it was in response to the Japanese tsunami, where it said a man lost his girlfriend in the tsunami, but not a problem. Just wait 15 minutes, another one will float by. It's a funny joke. It's very insensitive. It doesn't show any caring for the death and trouble of the people.
Of humor. Come on, you can't blame the guy.
Hey, comedy is a contact sport. So yeah, that was I couldn't help but laugh, but certainly understand why the fine folks at Aflac, who potentially could be a advertiser here while they had to let him go. So perfectly understandable, but still a damn funny joke.
Well, that's something that's funny each and every week is our lack of reviews, with the exception of this week.
Yeah.
And we actually got some feedback from you guys this go around. We have a familiar name on our screen this week. Who is it, Tony?
It is, I can't read that. Oh, Dusty Dunn, DL Dunn, which would be pretty funny if he's sitting in the bathroom. Are you done in there yet? Yes, I am. No. Are you
Since
done?
I walked in here.
I'm done wherever
What
I
does
go.
that mean?
So anyway, Dusty gave us a review on iTunes, and we sure appreciate it. He simply says, love the show. He gave us a 5-star rating and goes on with, love the show, guys, especially the stories that Dusty guy sends you. Man, he's a thrown off guy with way too much time. Bet he drives a short bus. I mean Jeep. So Dusty is actually obviously a friend of the Jeep Talk show that has found his way over here to the sick and twisted land of the Tony and Josh show.
Well, glad to have him aboard. And, well, like I said, strap on. We've got a whole bunch of news to share with you guys tonight. The Republican presidential candidate debate happened, as did another quake in Chile. Apple can't get its updates right for its new iOS 9 release, and Sharp says those 4K TVs that are super awesome and that you can't afford are already outdated, as they announced the release of 8K, quote, super high vision TVs for a very affordable $186,000. Sharp must be super high if they think any of us can afford that much of a damn TV. How dare they is what I say. And America's Got Talent, something winner, something blah, blah, blah.
You know, I said this a long time ago to an old boss when they were coming out with VGA, which is, I think, a company called Vega. It was a Vega graphics adapter, and it was a super high resolution for the personal computer. Mm-hmm. And I said, in the upcoming years, the resolution of these monitors will get so high, you will have to be an eagle to enjoy the depth of the definition, because the human eyes will not be able to appreciate all of it. I mean, 8K, 16K, I mean, is it going to continue doubling until, I don't know, you can actually touch the nipple of those angels? So
this is going the way of the bit, 8, 16, 32, 64, so on and so forth. That's how it's going to happen.
Josh, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but what you just did was math.
But I was told.
Go rinse your brain out right now. See, you can learn something on this show. You don't actually have to be...
Not if I have anything to say about it.
You don't actually have to be a host, but you can just learn by listening. So, well, let's just get into this now. I like this. This is kind of scary, actually. And this is one of those news stories that Dusty guy sent us. And
I don't know. I think this is a candidate for Mom of the Year award, but that might just be...
Yes, I think Dusty actually mentioned that in whenever he sent me this story. Mom planned daughter's birthday blowout with 12 bags of cocaine.
I don't know if that was enough.
I'm thinking pounds. I don't know nothing about no drugs. And when I saw 12 bags, I'm thinking, they're bringing this stuff in through a mule or something. Literally, a full-size mule. So
later used as a piñata.
When Nicola Austin's daughter turned 18 in February, the 37-year-old decided that they should celebrate in high style. So Austin purchased 12 bags of cocaine weighing a total of 8.65 grams in real measurements. That's only way less than a pound. According to prosecutors at the Maidstone Crown Court in England. That's another country, folks. Austin was sentenced earlier this week to a 9-month suspended sentence and 250 hours of unpaid work. Southwest News Service reports. Prosecutor Craig Evans said Austin, there's a lot of white names in England. Her daughter, she planned to celebrate her daughter with the girl's 18th birthday in London. They were going to London in a limousine, and she wanted to make sure they had a good time, Evans told the court. She told the court this. But mother and daughter missed out on the London high life. On January 31st, police happened by, to talk with Austin, who had 6 previous convictions, one for possession of amphetamines in 2010. After a police dog at the house sniffed out the cocaine, Austin admitted to the officers she got it for her daughter's birthday celebration, according to the Telegraph, which is like a newspaper or something over there. Despite the previous convictions, the judge decided not to send Austin to jail because she has a young son who would suffer if she was incarcerated. Well, I don't know. That sounds like a get out of jail free card, Josh.
Well, she did get 9 months suspended sentence, meaning that she could have gotten 9 months suspended, so she didn't have to spend any time in jail. But 250 hours of unpaid work is a lot of hours of. I'm guessing, is that extra work, or is that like from your regular job?
Well, you're assuming she's got a job.
Yes. Okay. Good point.
So I don't know. To me, that seems like that would be a hell of a prison sentence, at least a couple of years. So 250 hours worth of work. I mean, there's 2,080 hours in a work year. So 250 hours is not that bad. I mean, it's like maybe about a month or something. 10% of a full work year.
Hey, just because I did math earlier doesn't mean I'm going to do it again.
Well, it's always a possibility. Anyway, so I guess we can move on to this next one. This next one is pretty exciting.
Yeah, this is some really interesting stuff that I got really excited about when I saw this pop up in the show notes. This is like next level science here, guys, and when this kind of, I guess, discovery almost level of scientific news comes out, my hair stand on end. I get all giddy about this sort of stuff. What's going on in the science world, Tony? Yeah,
I'm kind of wondering what the payoff on this is going to be in the long term. So maybe that's one of the reasons why it's so interesting initially, is because of the what ifs, the potential what ifs. But this is the first magnetic wormhole created in a lab. Researchers in Spain have created the first ever magnetic wormhole in the lab. The specially designed sphere, I always want to say the spherically designed sphere, which would be completely redundant, is capable of transferring a magnetic field from one location to another via a process that is magnetically undetectable and only visible by light. The Autonomous University of Barcelona research team was inspired by the theoretical work of Alan Greenleaf, who in 2007 introduced the concept of an electromagnetic wormhole that would transfer electromagnetic waves between its ends while the tunnel itself remained electromagnetically, good God, invisible. Actually building one, however, proved to be problematic as the materials needed were impractical and hard to work with. When most of us, yeah, it's got to be difficult, right? Otherwise, Cher could do it. When most of us think wormholes, we think of the famous gravitational ones that exist in space, like as it was depicted in the films like Interstellar, which allow anything that enters it to travel instantaneously between long distances. However, those hoping to travel through space and time with this new tech shouldn't get their hopes up, as Wormholes Pratt Camps and his team have created works a little differently. Well, of course they do.
Well, they should have zigged when they should have zagged, clearly.
Yes, it's always good.
Back to the drawing board.
Good advice when people are shooting at you as well. Pratt Camps believes that since magnetic fields were utilized in many different applications, including electric energy generators, engines, and magnetic resonance imaging (MRI), this new technology could prove very useful in the near future. In the case of an MRI machine, for instance, a magnetic wormhole would make it possible to take pictures of a body with the powerful magnets placed at a greater distance, thus freeing people from the enclosed confines of the machine, which is what most people complain about. You know, they get claustrophobic in those noisy tubes.
Or, transport your spleen to another dimension, one or the other. I'm sure it's perfectly safe.
Or to a buffet, depending on what people are willing to pay.
I see this sort of stuff moving into everything from communications to transportation. Because when you're talking about being able to control electromagnetic waves, or at least magnetic fields to this extent, the reach to electromagnetism on this and being able to control it and alter it and transport it, move it. I mean, we're talking possibility of potentially sending power wirelessly across distances. I mean, this is infantile technology, and we're just opening up the eyes on this one. In 10 years from now, this stuff is going to be hitting our pockets.
It'll be real interesting to see what comes up with this. I mean, certainly the ability to move magnetic fields out at a distance. Now, I would assume that you can only go as far as the sphere is, and the distance rather, because if you could project the magnetic field at a great distance, you potentially could have, radio waves are just electromagnetic waves. So it'd be pretty cool if you could actually take your transmitter, and instead of having it go to an antenna that is right there where the transmitter is, send it several hundreds of miles away to an antenna, and literally have the antenna closer to your audience, or maybe several antennas that you could select from. So I don't think that this works that way, but who knows what might come up in the future.
Here's where I may disagree with you a little bit, Tony, is that the sphere that they have right now, I think could later be replaced with the Earth.
Oh, that just crossed my mind as you were saying that. That would be a pretty cool thing.
There's already magnetic points on the Earth that are all sort of interconnected. These nodes of where magnetic fields all converge onto the singular point.
Oh, you've been watching Ancient Aliens, haven't you?
Well, and these do exist, and these magnetic fields. I mean, the magnetosphere is what protects us from solar radiation.
Mm-hmm.
Without the magnetosphere, we wouldn't be here doing this right now.
Yeah, we'd be Venus or Mars. Yep.
So, it's that sort of stuff that I think is going to become future technology that is going to encompass the world, and maybe even start opening up the doors for warp technology, because in science fiction, warp fields were controlled by controlling magnetic waves.
Yep, very true. Oh, and speaking of magnetic waves, there's one person that's kind of concerned about electromagnetic waves, and I bet you he hasn't even read this story yet.
Yeah, this man fears an ET invasion, and you're not going to believe the lengths he goes to protect himself and, well, his property too, at least. Now, what is the best way to ward off those pesky aliens?
Baseball bat.
Well, to keep them from probing your head or from probing other parts of you. If anyone has seen the movie Signs, and as Nikki G already knows all too well, it's tinfoil. It turns yesterday's dinner into tomorrow's lunch, and it also protects us from space alien invasions. Well, Arthur Brown of Pennsylvania is taking no chances. He has wrapped his suburban home in tinfoil and shines around the clock spotlights from his porch, because bright light not only kills zombies, vampires, and his neighbor's chances of a good night's sleep, but it's also the best way to chase away the Martians. But his intergalactic heroics have left him in an ongoing feud with his neighbors. Go figure, who might want to send him into orbit. Multiple residents in Hermitage, which is 20 minutes from Youngstown, Ohio, are fed up with the 78-year-old's paranoid antics and have taken him to court. A judge has ordered Brown to take down the lights and pay a $500 a day fine, citing zoning ordinances. Officials say he failed to comply with the order and now owes more than $20,000. One neighbor says that Brown's DIY alien force field is keeping them from being able to sell their house. Things weren't always this way. Brown's fear of aliens has increased over the past 20 years. Brown now even believes that some of his neighbors are liaisons for the ETs. Little by little, we learned that he thought that we were they, and that we are the ones that the aliens were contacting to get him. Another neighbor has said. Yeah, Brown's attorney has appealed the charges against his client, claiming that he never received notification. What if he hadn't wrapped his house in tinfoil, is what I ask. Well, the world may never know.
That's got to be pretty cool. It reminds me of that or
sign. Hot, depending on what side of the tinfoil you're on.
That's true. There was I can't remember the name. It wasn't Strange Science, but there was a movie in which they took a large popcorn thing filled a foil void with all this popcorn kernels.
Huge, gigantic Jiffy Pop.
It was, and then they had a high-powered military satellite. No, it wasn't a satellite. It was on a plane. They had this high-powered military laser, and they used it to pop all the popcorn, destroying this house. It reminds me of that foil lined house. It'd be pretty cool to pop popcorn in there. So anyway, I mean, Josh, you've got a son, a stepson that you encourage to do science and things. I'm sure you probably even have helped out on occasion.
Absolutely. I can talk at length about various science experiments and projects and reports and stuff that we've conducted here in this house.
So how would you feel if
for school or otherwise?
Yeah, how would you feel if you sent your 14-year-old to school with his science experiment and he got arrested?
You know, I've often wondered that because I've sent him out the door with some questionable materials before.
But everybody likes a Playboy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. They got articles.
No, and that lunch bag never makes it to school. No, I'm kidding. Back in the day, you could pretty much get away with anything. But now you walk on the bus with a Hot Pocket and you're getting strip searched.
Yeah, and they eat your Hot Pocket. So this 14-year-old Muslim boy arrested for making a clock that was mistaken for a bomb.
Okay.
Now, sadly, this is from Irving, Texas, not about 4 hours north of where I live. A 14-year-old Muslim boy, and I'm saying that way on purpose, became a sensation on social media Wednesday after the word spread that he had been placed in handcuffs and suspended for coming to school with a homemade clock that teachers thought resembled a bomb. Dumbasses.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Police declined to seek any charges against Ahmed Mohammed. I'm just going to call him Philip. But that did little to tramp down criticism of police and school officials or suspicions that they had overreacted because of the boy's religion. I heard he was Baptist. Philip was pulled from class Monday and taken to detention center after showing the digital clock to teachers at his suburban Dallas high school.
Well, it probably didn't help that he was holding it over his head with both arms, screaming Allah Akbar.
And the road flares that were strapped to his body, along with several foot-long hot dogs. It was for lunch. So, Urban Police Chief Larry Boyd said the clock looked suspicious in nature, but there was no evidence the boy meant to cause alarm at the MacArthur High School. Boyd considers the case closed. In a matter of hours, the clock made Philip a star on social media with the hashtag #IStandWithAmid. Philip. Tweeted nearly 750,000 times by Wednesday afternoon. We're talking today, folks. This is breaking news at the time of the recording of this podcast. So I'm making light of this, but if I was this young man's father, I would be pissed. I mean, any numbskull can look at a clock that if you go on the web and look at this thing, it's got several integrated circuits, wires, it's on a nice flat board. There is nothing on there that it has any kind of Play-Doh or modeling clay that you might think is C4 or any liquid, no metal pipe with with nails and debris taped to it. I mean, there was nothing there that looked like a bomb. The only thing that this potentially could have been used for would be a timer for a bomb.
Well, and the fact that he had it in a suitcase handcuffed to his arm.
Well, it was a really nice clock. So this boy should be applauded for, at 14 years old, building something electronically that is this. Literally, you could have taken duct tape and taped it to an IC board, taped a smartphone to the IC board and turned on the clock and used that. But this guy actually went through the process of putting something together and it worked. It has a LCD display or an LED display, and you can see it's a clock. It's a clock. Come on, are you people this stupid that you can't see it's a clock? And how dare you put a 14-year-old young man in handcuffs?
Let me paint a small picture for you. I'm going to play devil's advocate here just because I can.
Okay.
Now, you're the teacher. You're paranoid because you've been teaching for 15 years and,
Well, you're insane. I don't know that you're paranoid, but you're probably insane.
True. And, you're diehard liberal and you're afraid that, if a woodpecker goes off, that it's gunfire and you're just beside yourself if a car backfires, so.
Well, you shouldn't be teaching, should you?
You've got a med here who she's obviously racial profiling against. She knows his parents, whatever. And she sees Ahmed pop open this little suitcase because his science experiment, this project, this clock, it has a very large, display. This is all inside of a very, very small, almost what you'd think of as a tool kind of briefcase, a suitcase, a little attaché case of some kind or another. It's felt lining, aluminum edges and corners and stuff like that. Little handle and stuff. Very, very Hollywood-esque. And she just gets a peek of a large digital display and a bunch of wires and circuit boards. Now, being the paranoid racial profiling teacher who's ready to snap as she is, she freaks out and puts 2 and 5 together and comes up with bomb.
27, yeah.
So, it's obviously, if you were to open this up and spend 2.5 seconds just looking at it, clearly this is nothing to be concerned about. But it was a knee-jerk reaction of somebody who is, basically ignorant, if nothing else.
Well, and that's just the kind of the point. And this is going a little bit off show notes here, but there was
we don't ever do that.
There was a post on Facebook today about talking about how the United States is like number 4 in the world on education, and the question was, why do you think that is? It's the freaking teachers. That's the problem. Well, there's 2 problems. It's the politicalization of the whole education system and the teachers. I mean, you got teachers teaching English that can't speak it. No, I'm not talking about Latin teachers. I'm talking about good old American people that have been here all their lives, and they use words that are incorrectly whenever they're trying to teach students how to speak English.
Ain't a word, so I ain't going to use it.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, boy.
That's a noun, people. Axe is a noun. It's something used to chop wood or spray on your body.
Oh, here. Okay. Since we're going to deviate here just really quick.
I'm sorry. We don't have time for any more deviation.
One of the guys at work, and we do have a regular jobs people out there who are new to the show.
Well, all I can say is that if this was my son and he built this project, I'd be very happy that he took the time and effort to do this. Oh, and I did see a tweet from the White House. Now, this is on the internet, so it may or may not be real. Verify this information.
Oh, a governmental response. This ought to be great.
Well, it's actually an Obama response, and he reached out and said that he would love for this young man to come to the White House and bring his clock. Now, there's not many things I agree with President Obama about, but that was the right thing to do, and that's the type of thing that we need to do for all our young people in this country whenever I'm not saying they all should go to the White House, but but whenever they do something that is above and beyond the normal studies of school, I think that's great. They deserve a pat on the back, and if you ever want to twist a young man or woman away from the American way, put them in handcuffs whenever they do try to do something exceptional.
Indeed. Well, this is certainly one person who stood out exceptionally while competing in the Miss America contest last night. Miss South Carolina offered an answer in support of Second Amendment rights that sent the internet abuzz.
Amazing.
During the current events question portion of the program, Deja Dial, who's 22, was asked, "Do you support a ban on military-style assault weapons?" Given 20 seconds to respond, she said, quote, "If we teach people the proper way to use guns, then we will reduce the risk of having gun-related accidents. It starts with education."
Bravo.
Indeed, it does.
I mean, and again, this is another one of those. I mean, that she's not 14, she's 22, legally an adult, but just barely so. But she's in front of the world, at least a large portion of the United States. And it would be very easy for her to say, well, of course I do. I want world peas and mashed potatoes. This the standard Miss America response. But she says, no, education is key. Guns aren't bad. It's our Second Amendment right. And, this story makes me feel optimistic for this country and our youth. Oh, and I'll just go ahead and say it. Call me a racist, but she's black. So, I guess I am racist because I don't, when I see a woman or a non-white person agree with my political views, it just makes me feel good. I like it. I think we all should come together and make things better. And if that's racist, then yeah, I'm racist.
Well, that warm feeling and warm fuzzy feeling you're starting to have bubble up inside you, Tony. I'm about to turn that into something stinky and nasty here.
I know you will, Josh.
Your faith in humanity is about to be ruined in our last story of the evening, as I typically try and accomplish with each and every show. Wisconsin woman has been accused of pooping in a Kmart. A woman who returned items to a Kmart in Racine, Wisconsin, is accused of leaving something behind that was not on her receipt. The 49-year-old Wisconsin local we shall call the crap burglar. You know, like cat burglar? No? Okay, how about Poo Ninja? Wait, I know. Stealth bomber.
Yes!
Well, the not-so-stealthy maneuvers were no match for the eye in the sky as she was arrested on Monday after she allegedly snuck behind a store cash register and defecated in a box of security tags. Security footage showed a woman whose authorities later identified answering nature's call around 10:22 a.m. The footage also showed her reaching for paper towels beneath the counter when she was done. Well, at least she's tidy. Then, with nary a single drop of hand sanitizer, she went back to the customer service desk, completed her return, and exited the retail store. Now, according to the footage, Jacobson was wearing a shirt with a dump truck on it and the phrase, dropping a load, which is just awesome. Really makes me wonder if this wasn't a planned protest. I don't know. Maybe making her statement against the quality of the half a flat of cocktail wieners, nacho cheese, and canned chili she just shoveled into her gullet moments before. Now, whatever it was that made its way through Miss Poopy Pants' bowels in record time was starting to be picked up by some of the employees. Because about by 12:50 p.m., just a couple hours later, the strange odor around the register was tracked down to the Poo Light Special in the box, which was also soaked with urine. At that point, officers were called to the scene because, crap in a box is one thing, but heaven forbid, she soaked the cardboard. Now we got to get the police involved, people.
The police are like, why the hell are you calling me?
One worker told investigators that the suspect was a regular customer who, quote, should know where the public restrooms are located.
Regular customer. I get it.
Another employee said the suspect did not appear to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol or even in special or urgent need to go to the bathroom, according to the police complaint. Now, wait a minute here. I thought this woman was in genuine distress without knowledge of facility layout or the sphincter strength to hold back the gastric onslaught that she was surely the victim of, Tony. The victim! But no, she was, of course, for her actions, given up by the store employees who gave detective the woman's address from the forms she used when she returned the merchandise. When they went to the address, they found a porta potty.
I was just going to say, that would be great.
No, they didn't. No. They actually met a woman who identified herself, and she was, by just chance, so happened to be wearing the same pants, tennis shoes, and the oh-so-classy dropping a load shirt seen on the surveillance footage.
The cops they had to have giggled that when they were doing this whole thing. They had to have laughed, especially when they saw that shirt.
The woman, of course, denied pooping at the Kmart, even after she was told about the footage. I'm going to pause here and let you take a wild guess as to what happened next. Officers said she resisted their attempts to take her into custody. Shocking. The woman was charged with 3 misdemeanor charges of disorderly conduct, resisting an officer and obstructing an officer. Several other citations of nasal assault and emotional trauma for the poor temp that had to clean that check stand up. Now, it would have to be sanitized. It would have to be sanitized, right? I mean, the full-on hazmat quarantine here. They drain a pool if someone has a little turtlet pass by the gate. So if you empty your bowels and your bladder into a cardboard box behind a Kmart register, what do you suppose the SOP is on dealing with something like that? Yeah, Billy, could you just grab some bleach and a rag? Need you to clean that up, then you can go on break. She is free on $500 bond and is scheduled for a pretrial conference. And part of her bond condition requires her to have no contact with Kmart.
It's just, I've mentioned it before. It reminds me of the Phantom Shitter from Flight of the Intruder, the novel Flight of the Intruder. Why is poop so damn funny? I mean, why would young adolescents take a dump in a bag, put it on somebody's porch, set it on fire, ring the doorbell, and run? I mean, that's
I don't care how old you are. I don't care where you come from. Poo and fart humor never gets old.
No, it really doesn't.
And it will always have a warm, comfortable home here on the Tony and Josh Show.
Albeit smelly. Well, that's a show.
That's something, all right. Albeit steamy, we're going to put this thing in the can.
As you can well expect, that's a well. At least we didn't talk about penises. I mean, we didn't end on penises this week, but something from the same general area. But this was better because both genders can identify with this last story.
Yes, exactly.
So you guys should check us out on Facebook. You can go directly to our website, TonyandJosh.com. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Tuned In. I always like to say tuned in like past tense, but it's not. It's tune in like you should do. We love getting reviews, and we'll take those reviews on iTunes, Stitcher. You know, actually, Stitcher would be a good place to leave us a review. I don't think we've ever gotten a Stitcher Radio review, but they certainly have a place to do it. And you can reach out to us on Twitter and Facebook. Give us your reviews there. And you know, we're not such nervous Nellies that we don't like to have criticism. So if there's something about the show you don't like, we're not getting rid of Josh. We're not getting rid of me. But anything else is fair game. Oh, and Nikki G stays too. Damn it. So make sure that you seek us out on Twitter at Tony and Josh Show. Use the hashtag Tony and Josh Show anytime you're tweeting about anything under the sun, whether it has to do with the Tony and Josh Show or not. We'd appreciate it. Oh, and of course, tell a friend. Oh, you may have some news tips like Dusty Dunn does. So send us a email to newstips@tonyandjoshshow.com. I'll say that again, newstips@tonyandjoshshow.com.
Yeah, if we've assaulted your guys' sensibilities and made you question your faith in humanity and possibly even cross some moral boundaries, we definitely encourage you guys to spread the word about the Tony and Josh Show. Hit that social media outlet and just let your fingers do the typing. And make sure you tell a friend, tell the whole world about how we've made you laugh, cry, or maybe even think twice about renewing that membership to the online provider.
Or pooped in a box at Kmart.
Ooh, yeah. If you've got a story like that, we want to hear from you.
And didn't get caught.
If you guys got a twisted story, yes, please send us an email to newstips@tonyandjosh.com or use our SpeakPipe feature over at tonyandjosh.com. And you guys can actually tell us the story. We might even put it on the air.
So we've got some real interesting stories coming up. One good one from Dusty Dunn that you may hear around Halloween time. Let me just put it this way. Death by dildo is just one of the 10 items that we may be talking about.
Only on the Tony and Josh Show.
You guys have a great night. We'll see you again next week for episode 89.